I discovered some important new facts about the unconscious in psychic life, the role of instinctual urges, and so on. Out of these findings grew a new science, psychoanalysis, a part of psychology, and a new method of treatment of the neurosis. I had to pay heavily for this bit of good luck. People did not believe in my facts and thought my theories unsavory. Resistance was strong and unrelenting. In the end, I succeeded in acquiring pupils and building up an international psychoanalytic association. But the struggle is not yet over. My name is Sigmund Freud.
It so happened that I was president during one of the most emotional get-togethers of the whole 100 years, and that was in Vienna. And it's the only one ever held in Vienna, even to this day. They never went back there. And we had to get the permission of Anna Freud, who had been last in Vienna when she escaped the Nazis in a train in the middle of the night, you know. She and her father got out, and they lost a number of family members in the concentration camp. 3 of his sisters were murdered, you know. It was a reconstruction of psychoanalysis post-war. You know, the Nazis just decimated the field. They burned all his books. He said he was honored to have his books burned. I was on the platform where she made an entrance. She was about to give an opening speech. I introduced her. There was a hush, over 3,000 people. And to everyone's complete surprise, she got up there and she started to speak in German.
I would dare to say that we can practice psychoanalysis today better than our predecessors were able to do because we have their legacy.
When the field originated with the brilliance and the foresight and the discoveries of one man, as you know, a man named Freud in Vienna. For the first 10 or 20 years of his life, he worked solitary. He had a few compatriots who became colleagues, but he never had a group that was very large or very accepting of his ideas. His ideas were mostly met by resistance because they offended the common man. After about 20 years, where he first studied dreams and then symptoms, and his ideas began to gel and to take seed in people over a wide area, it was suggested to him by one of his colleagues, actually named Sándor Ferenczi, a man in Budapest, Hungary, that he start an international organization to further the promulgation of the science and to get colleagues and students and fellow practitioners in larger, over a wider area. So in 1910, with that stimulus, he started what later became what was known as the International Psychoanalytic Association.
I don't see how psychoanalysis could have come forward and developed into a worldwide profession and science without this one organization that holds most psychoanalysts together.
I think that the attention to late Freud and post-Freudian contributions have increased our knowledge enormously. And it has also increased the range of our psychoanalytic function.
So the IPA started quite early in the organizational framework of the field. And it started in order to achieve a feeling of solidarity and unanimity and common thinking and exchange of ideas and a broadening of the science and discussions among them to expose problems and work together towards solving them. Man had to overcome this resistance to admitting the unconscious levels of his mind and of his mentation before he accepted, if he ever did, Freudianism and psychoanalysis on a par with chemistry and physics and biology. Many steps had to be gone through until we reached the present stage, which is a mixed one at any rate. Freud acceded, and it's of interest to historians to know that his choice, because at that time he could almost name the leaders and the officers, he chose Jung as the president, the first president. Now that's of interest because, as everyone knows, Jung became the main alternative theorist or competitor. And the field very quickly became divided between Freud and Jung, who was his first major student. And Jung was of an opposite bent. He accepted much of the unconscious, but he was very spiritual in his thinking. He had more difficulty than Freud of giving up older ideas of religion and spirituality and cosmic influences on people. Now, as you can imagine, the first meetings in Nuremberg and there was one in Oxford, England after a while, in Munich, in different places throughout the world, had small assemblages of the analysts of the time. Perhaps there was 50 or 100 at the first few.
The revolution that Freudian ideas brought to the intellectual world over a century ago is immutable and indelible. You know, whatever changes there are modulations, modifications, additions, but so much of him has been absorbed into popular culture that it's not revolutionary anymore.
So that in the last 20 or 30 years, we have a period of, it's equally exciting to many people, of multiple theories, multiple views, pluralistic ideas about the what causes mental conflict. But to me, it all stands on a base of the discoveries from 1890 to 1910 and 20 and 30. And from there, a theory that expanded and mushroomed like a tree that blossoms into a great, big, florid, productive structure. There will be more because it's opening up its doors to larger segments of analysts every so often, and it will probably expand, even though there's increasing conflict, a lot of dissension, a lot of competitive theories, lots of debate and discussion. Nevertheless, there's such a need because of the prevalence of mental disturbances, anxieties, depressions, and with increasing complexity and technology and living, mental disturbances and mental aberrations are not on the decrease, but on the increase.
It's helpful to see people to work with colleagues from different cultures because there are kind of cultural factors that shape the mind and the unconscious. And so when you are experiencing people in different cultures, it alerts you. It kind of wakes you up to things that you might not see otherwise.
Every Congress of the American or of the International is an electrifying group session in which there are many people, young people, middle-aged, older people, sharing their views, looking to the past, the present, and the future.
I think that psychoanalysis is, on the other hand, always in crisis, as any kind of knowledge that renews itself, that reviews its concepts, that learns more from clinical experience.
Testing ideas through clinical observation, that we have reached a point where empirical research is deemed to be non-clinical research. But it's in all kinds of sciences, from astronomy to archaeology, observational, there is such a thing as an observational science.
Va s'enrichir des Africains du Sud et du Nord, va s'enrichir de tous ces gens du monde entier qui, avec leurs pensées, vont nous apporter des modes de concevoir les mêmes notions, et nous aurons à discuter tout cela.
That psychoanalysis will be enriched from the fact that there will be a Korean group, there will be Chinese, there will be African, and that these people new to psychoanalysis will bring a way of looking at the current notions which will be enriching to us.
In certain parts of the world, like China, we heard about last time, Korea, where psychoanalysis is relatively new, there is enthusiasm and excitement. They have a group of 20 to 50 young people there whom they've attracted, who are very interested and talented. The ways of trying to help people with their troubles have expanded enormously.
Nobody will deny the importance of drugs and brief therapies and behavioral, cognitive, and so on. But the specificity and the strength and the potential of reaching its psychic change, this is ours.
I'm almost as old as the IPA is, and I've been active in analysis half that time. That takes time. So people training in Russia or in China are in the early stages, the way I was when I was a resident in psychiatry in the 30s, and very open and very curious and very hungry to learn the discoveries that the older people started and developed for half a century. But it's going to take time and experience for them to catch up. Now, maybe they'll even go much further than we ever went. But the IPA is in a very good position.
I started my professional activity as a neurologist, trying to bring relief to my neurotic patients.
So in my view, psychoanalysis is a work in progress in several dimensions. And our challenge is exactly to keep this work progressing.
The IPA is now a vibrant force at the head of the pyramid of the organization of psychoanalysts throughout the world.